Before your screenplay can be made into a movie, it needs to be read first. In most cases, a seasoned Hollywood reader can tell whether your script is any good within the first few pages. That's why it's essential that you move your story forward quickly, because you only have about 10 pages to accomplish 5 major components. Establish the genre, introduce your protagonist, show the world, hint at the theme, and set up the dramatic situation. Action flicks have one-liners. Fantasies are set in supernatural, often magical worlds. And R-rated comedies use off-color jokes and adult humor. Clarifying your script's genre or subgenre early on is essential, because this will set your audience and reader with clear expectations. Nobody goes to a romantic comedy to see the happy couple die in a car crash at the end. And in a slasher film, your audience is actually rooting for the killer. It's important that you understand the rules of the genre you're working in so that you can deliver those expectations to your audience. And that's why you must clarify the film genre immediately, ideally in the very first scene. It's one thing to present a stock character, the mad scientist, the reckless cop, the drunken neurosurgeon. But it's another thing entirely to move beyond stereotypes and introduce a complex, unique, and memorable protagonist. Take, for example, the dude in The Big Lebowski. The Coen brothers present a man in his 40s wearing Bermuda shorts and sunglasses, filling quarts of milk from the dairy aisle at a deserted supermarket. We learn so much about this character in this one scene. In a few concise lines, his die is cast, and we move into the meat of our story. You don't have to illustrate every facet of your protagonist all at once. But this introduction is the reader's first impression of your character, and you must present an interesting, flawed, and if not likable, empathetic individual. The world of your story is a crucial piece of your screenplay, and a vital character in the telling of your story. Take this example. A soldier from a civilized world is thrust among a native culture, and after falling in love with the chief's daughter and bonding with the tribe's people, he is forced to betray this new home by the people he left behind. Without describing the world, this could be Pocahontas, Dances with Wolves, or a half a dozen other films. But James Cameron took this classic story and set it in a rich new world. Pandora 2154, an Earth-like moon inhabited by the Na'vi, a 10-foot-tall blue-skinned humanoid, who live in a landscape of bioluminescent flora, 6-legged predators, and floating mountains. Set your story in a unique world. Be specific. Be exact. Take us to a place we've never seen before. Make the audience experience something new. Your theme is the general idea or insight your story reveals. Often, theme is obvious, illustrated in a larger, more general sense. Man versus nature. Man versus self. Or loss of innocence. But a theme is often more specific. Take, for example, individual versus society. Schindler's List explores self-sacrifice while Aaron Brockovich battles social injustice. The Elephant Man is about societal acceptance, and Fight Club is an attack on consumerism and authority. It's important to hint at your theme early, even though much of the thematic elements won't be paid off until later. The dramatic situation is the first indication of what your story is going to be about. It's possible for it to occur immediately, even before we meet any principal characters. In the first few scenes of Jaws, we see a water lump approaching as a girl swims under the night sky. A ferocious attack, savage violence, and then calm. Immediately, the audience understands what this world is in for. But just as often, the dramatic situation shares screen time with a major plot point. In Little Miss Sunshine, we don't understand the situation until this dysfunctional family agrees to take a cross-country road trip in a VW bus in order to get their 7-year-old daughter to the finals of a beauty pageant. 6 incredibly flawed and tragic characters trapped in an absurd situation. There's no absolute order that these 5 elements need to be applied. A screenplay often begins with the protagonist, but sometimes the dramatic situation comes first, and occasionally, all 5 components are covered in the very first scene alone. As long as these 5 core elements are executed well and established early on, your screenplay is one step closer to achieving success. To learn more about genre, your protagonist, the world of your story, theme, and the dramatic situation, check out thescriptlab.com.